What's up, amigos? Welcome to part 3. And today I'm going to show you guys how I print, from the setup to actually printing and to how I clean up. So stay tuned. Okay, now this video is going to be a little bit edited weird because I was going to print today starting in the morning, but everything went wrong when I was exposing. That's why I made a part 2.5. So I'm picking up from that exact ending. And the first thing you should do after you're done exposing your screen is check for pinholes and cover them up. And just grab some motion and cover those pinholes up. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I just grab some motion and just look for the pinholes, hold it towards the light, and start covering them up. Now you want to make sure that you always cover the pinholes on this side, on the bottom side, not on the print side. Because if you do it on the print side, well, obviously that's going to affect when you go through with the squeegee. So always do it from the bottom. Now you're going to take these outside. Take them outside to the sun so they can post expose and also so they can cure the little pinholes that end up covering up. Okay, amigos. I actually ended up printing some shirts after I did filming part 2 because since I didn't have all the screens to expose, I decided to print with the screens I already did expose, and those were for the Phoenix shirts, and it's actually right here, and I'll show you right now that day. So let's get to it. Okay, what I used to tape my screens, I use some regular brown tape from 3mm, and these are pretty cheap and it works fine. I don't have the luxury of having extra screen printing tape, but I've seen the prices of screen printing tape, and compared to this brown tape, big difference. And it works good. I don't know why people don't really use it, but I always tape both sides. I like being safe. One word of advice: be careful with these because I have sliced the screen while using this, so be very careful. Let's see if it fits this big screen. I don't really use this big screen because I turned the press and it hits the wall. But I'm gonna see if it works. Maybe the room got bigger. Doesn't work. Well, the room didn't get bigger, so I'll put this later. I'll do the back after I finish with the front side. So no wonder it won't come off. I forgot to take the cap off. Okay, you guys. Well, I just finished printing the front sides of the black shirts last night, and now I'm gonna clean the screens so I could put in black ink to do the white shirts. Just so you guys see. The reason I use gasoline is because in my city they don't have ink remover. Because they do have this chemical, you can use this to clean off the ink from the screens, but this is like 100 pesos for the liter, and gasoline right now is 20 pesos for the liter. So yeah. Now with these wood screens you gotta be careful because since these presses are pretty cheap and those wood screens are really heavy, what tends to happen is once in a while they just come crashing down. So you also gotta keep an eye on those. Much better. You see what I mean? Okay, so that was me printing those shirts, the fitting shirts. And now I'm gonna end up painting one screen. This screen right here, because I actually have the chicken logo that can go for my ink builder t-shirts. And like I mentioned, if you could fit more than 2 designs on one screen, it helps out a lot. Once you save on motion. Okay, for a screen like this where half of the screen doesn't have any motion, what I use is I use some paper from a magazine to just tape it up. So I wanted to use tape to cover this entire area. Alright, now it's time to load the screens. The way I register my screens is I just place the film onto the palette. Chicken now. Alright, we're good to go. I'm gonna do a test print to see if it's okay. And I use registration marks. And I'm gonna upload a video in a few days where the guy who told me the press, he registers his screens without using these marks. He just does it by eyeballing it. So stay tuned for that video. Thank God the heat set. There's your problem. I'll register it later. Okay, while the adhesive settles in, I'm going to load up the ink. I forgot to cover the registers. Now, I recommend using gloves when you're applying the ink to the screens, because the last thing you want to do is get your hands dirty and end up touching the shirts and you're going to stain them. But I ran out of gloves, so I guess that will do. Let's see what it does. Now there's two ways to do it. You could push or you could pull. I first started by pulling, but I realized that for me pushing is a lot easier. Alright, that's the only problem I have, is I don't have enough squeegees that are long enough. That's why I have to do it like a little bit on this side and a little bit on that side, because the design is bigger than my squeegee size. Because I only have 5 squeegees and they're all different lengths. But now this one on the black, I'm doing the pull because I have the tape right here, and if I push, I'm gonna end up moving the tape, and that's what's blocking the ink from going through. So that's why I'd rather pull on this one. Alright, much better. I mean, have you take a closer look. Alright, here's the test print, number 2. As you can see, there's a little problem right here. That's from the screen, And like I said, I was struggling all day to expose these screens. I don't know why, but bad luck, I guess. Okay, so I have the flash dryer hot and ready, and I'm going to start printing. And one tip, before you start drying the shirts, always check your hands to make sure you have no ink smudges on them, because the last thing you're going to do is stain the shirt, because you're going to have to replace it. So yeah, always make sure you check your hands. Just this little bit time. Usually the first shirts take a lot longer to cure with the flash dryer, but after a few shirts, the dryer gets hot enough that it only takes like 20 seconds. Or right now it's taking me like 30-40 seconds, but yeah, it's still a lot faster than using a heat press or a heat gun. And one way to know if it's cured is usually when you remove the flash dryer, you'll see smoke coming out. That's when you know it's ready. Also, you can tell by the the texture of the ink. If it looks shiny, then it's properly cured. And there's a test you can do it. There are some people that do the stretch test. But one way I can tell if it's ready, if I just scratch it. If it comes off, it needs more time. There you go. The first official ink build-up t-shirt with the famous chicken logo. Okay, I'm having problems with my phone to record. I thought I was recording, but nothing got saved. So I'm going to explain what happened. I was printing my shirts, And I realized that the blue is a really nice color, but it wasn't really that opaque. So I decided to flash print on the blue, and it looks a lot better. And this is what I got to say about the bad thing is I don't have access to some good ink, because on a white t-shirt it's not really necessary to flash print, right? But since these inks, they're kind of like low quality, I have to do that with the blue. So let's get started again. Alright guys, that was the last shirt of the ink buildup. Now I just gotta do the back side of the Kiss shirts, and once I'm done with that, I'm gonna show you guys how I clean up. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to mention. When you get to the last print of the shirt, with the squeegee, do the final push and don't flood the screen. That way the cleaning process will be a lot easier. Okay, so I'm done printing, and I'm going to show you guys how I clean up my screens. Okay, this is how I clean up. I just grab the squeegee, put in the excessive ink back in. And I recommend doing this after you folded your shirts already, so you won't risk staining them. This is why I love these spatulas. They're a lot easier to scoop up the ink from the screens. Alright, here's what I use to clean my squeegees and the spatulas. I use baby wipes. Like, and I've seen those, what do they call them? The sink wipes? But they're real expensive, and these baby wipes, they do a pretty good job. But I recommend you buy the store brand. Don't go out buying those huggy wipes, because those will cost you a lot of money. See? One squeegee down. The spatulas. Oh yeah, and always make sure to wipe off the containers. Well, that's it. That's how I clean the ink off the screens. And the next thing I do is I clean the screens with the gasoline. Then I remove the tape and reclaim them. And I reclaim them with chlorine. And I already have a video on that, so make sure to check it out. And usually I leave the screens on till the next day because, like, I print at night, so I just clean off the ink. Then the next day I might wash them. But you could literally leave these screens on here. For example, if you're doing a job and you don't finish, you can leave the screens on here with the ink and nothing will happen to them because these are Plastisol inks and they don't really dry. If they do dry, where you can just use a ink remover, or in my case I use gasoline to remove the ink from the stencil, and I can start printing again. But anyways, I'm not gonna show you guys when I remove the ink with the gasoline because it's gonna stick in here. But you get the idea. Gasoline, remove the tape, and then reclaim. And that's it. That's basically how I clean my job. Alright, amigos. Well, that's all for part 3. I really hope you enjoyed these series of videos on how to screen print. Now, I'm going to get these shirts ready, wrapped up, and hopefully by either Monday or Tuesday, I'll ship them, and they'll go to Phoenix. So keep an eye on those ink buildup t-shirts. Now, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you can get notified when I upload another video, because I do have this video on a 5-color print job. You see no registration marks, so make sure to subscribe and follow my Instagram and like my Facebook page. In the meantime, I'm out.